Good evening. Welcome to the June 26 Ahrb meeting. First item on the agenda is 89 Beechdale Road. Excuse me. Thank you.
Good evening. Brandon Zappi, Real Estate Development. So, from the last meeting, we had gathered some comments from the board, as I'm sure you remember, and we adjusted the plans. Per these comments, we changed the front door to a sustainable composite front door. We added some extra trim. One of the board members provided a picture that we tried to replicate with the pitches of the gambrels on the house. And then we added a window in the gable ends. So, some extra trim here. So I think it came a long way since the first submission. Yeah, and those were the three things that we had agreed to at the last meeting.
Yeah, you want to go ahead? So you said you addressed the pitch issue, which was Dipty. So we have two members out today, Brandon and Dipty. But Dipty had brought up, and I think we all sort of talked about this. The one issue was there was a question about the finding the right pitch for the roofs, and that was one important issue. Another important issue was carrying through the gambrel so that it read as a full, that the gambrel is the roof as opposed to being a trim, sort of applied trim. And so I'm just, some of the things that you're mentioning, yes, that's true. Another thing we discussed was the type of siding. We talked about the door, so appreciate you getting that part in. But what I see is, and the thing about the gambrel, and I don't have any issues with this thing growing, but it looks like you have a gambrel. Look at the upper right drawing, which is the main roof structure, and then there are these other elements coming off of it, which is part of the issue that we talked about making the gambrel be the volume, right? But the gambrel is the massing, and so I just see that in part you've resolved some of it, which is you've adjusted the pitches, and that looks better. However, it looks to me like it's still, particularly in the side elevation, it's still just the gambrel is just a gambrel shaped trim as opposed to a gambrel form roof. So and here's the thing, we're trying to work with you, right? We're not here to obstruct you or the owners from building their house. We just want you to do one that is in keeping with the neighborhood and matches an architectural style. That's one of the types that are approved in our residential design guideline, and so that's the purpose of this. It's not to hold you up. It's not because we have nothing better to do on a Monday night. It's to try to get this thing to meet those standards.
Okay, have you been out there?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about the house on the left of this one.
Well, I only go to I've been up to the house at the end.
Okay, when you made a comment, you want to be in keeping the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you haven't been out there, and what are you looking at? If you're looking at the neighborhood and making a comment on that, let's hear about the house. Look, we made it concessions, we've been here for months. We're done. I left here, I said we changed some roof pitches. We're not gonna take the roof line through, it's gonna affect all the.
Look, I don't want to waste anyone's time. If you'd like us to vote, we're happy to do that. I've told you what I thought. I'm sure the other board members have comments. If you don't want to continue to work with us, we're happy to vote.
Well,
That's what you're asking for. Pardon?
We made those changes. Yeah, you're asking for parking on the side, who's gonna pay for that? You gonna pay for that?
Say it again?
Who's gonna pay for the parking? Look, it's on a private road on Bellewood Street. Do you hunt there? Because that could be a conflict.
Say what?
I'm asking if he hunts there on property.
This is not about what I do in my spare time.
Sure.
Would you like to talk about architect? If you'd like to talk
Listen
about
to me,
the design of the
excuse me, I'm
house, we can
speaking.
do that. But I will
I'm
not
the
be
applicant
questioned
here,
about
I'm
it.
speaking.
That
If your buddy's with him and you're
There-
hunting there and you're
there
you're in
is
collusion with him.
a degree of cordiality that you need to respect in here, or there's no more conversation to be had.
Sorry, I think what my builder is trying to ask is, whether or not there's a conflict of interest, because we are aware that you're friends with our neighbor who doesn't want us to build our house, which is fine, and I'm just explaining what he's trying to say, because I know that you would hunt on the property. Because when I first visited there, I spoke to our neighbor, and he explained to us that the huts there belong to who he mentioned, and so that's the only reason that we're just
So what I'm hearing from you is you're accusing me of a conflict of interest in this, in my criticism of the building?
What he was saying in a calm manner so you could understand where he's coming from. 'Cause all
I
know
understand
is-
perfectly.
Okay, all I know is that right now, I have a 1.5-year-old and a special needs son, who I'm now moving up to Beacon, okay, and driving down to school for an outreach day, which I'm fine to do, because I want to be a part of this community, I want to be a part of the school district, because it's the best for my children. But at some point, we have to come to an agreement. And I think everyone just wants to come to an agreement, just want to build their house. I don't want to live at my mother-in-law's for a year. That's it.
I understand that, and we're certainly sympathetic to that issue.
Okay, so that's why
However,
we're wondering if there's a
the issues that we
conflict of
brought
interest.
to the board haven't been addressed in my estimation. Let's let the other board members opine, and if you'd like a vote tonight, we can come to a vote. If you'd like to continue to work on this and implement the changes that we've suggested, I'm
Okay, so it seems like we're down to two issues. One is the Hardy plank, and one is continuing the roof line. Is that correct?
When you say when you refer to continuing the roof line, so to the character of the gambrel, I'm not sure if you understand what it means. Because, can I show you a small detail, and if you can explain it to me? What's happening here?
This is on the piece that's on the side of the house that was down.
But who drew that?
One of the guys in our office.
Do you think it's something that where is this in the plane? What's happening? Just this detail.
This gable in here is flush.
But you understand what I'm saying. This is not, it's not an issue of style. It's
So how do you like that addressed?
that's a question that
Because this is something new,
If-
he's picking up a specific detail. Show us what you.
I'm just giving you an example of a problem that if solved, I think will be a very successful house. And we are not that far off of getting this approved, as long as there is
Show
goodwill.
me what you did before, how you want this to function.
The one thing that we are referring to is, you see this detail, this is an applied molding on a facade. This building is literally,
That's the building.
that's the building.
And that's just like a
And this
false.
is,
Right.
just by doing this detail, it will be much better. You see
Bring
these
the-
pieces? These pieces will solve your life, because you're trying to make it consistent. Or just eliminate this here, just go down. And this is just a normal gambrel roof. I can accept this, that's acceptable. The look is good. If you push this a little further, it will be even better for the house. I think that if you do like this as a dormer, will look much better. But you need someone that has a degree of sensibility of addressing
These
this
are
issue.
pictures that are from our gables. So, can we just mark this up and be on the right?
But I
can't design your house, right? This is the thing, like, we don't design your house, we give you advice to get there, right? I mean, it's, you guys,
Talking about making the sides a little bit smaller.
all we want you to do, and this is the thing that we keep coming back to, is we want you to do a house that has either one style or the other. And right now you're mixing styles, right? So if you're gonna do the gambrel, have it carry all the way through and take this out. If you need this space, because they have interior program,
We didn't have that originally, that was something that was Ashford.
you didn't have what?
We didn't have those false gambrels on the side. We came in with a column.
Yes, you did.
No, we didn't.
Sure you did. You came in the first time. I remember perfectly. Hold on, let me finish. You guys have the drawings?
The gambrels were here.
The first time you came in, you had the gambrels on the front,
Yes.
right? You had a gambrel detail on the front, but you had a different type of building on the back. So we said, because your son came and said, client wants a gambrel roof. So we said, all right, make them a gambrel roof. You guys came back a second time, and it hasn't been months. This is the third time you've been here. You put an applied molding on the same house. We said, no, you gotta carry it through as a volume. That was part of the discussion. Sure.
We come back and
You see this form? Well, turn to the first page. You see this form drawn in blue? That carries all the way through.
That's the main theme.
That is a volume that carries all the way through. If that doesn't work for the interior program, I get it.
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work, then eliminate the gambrel. Or make it wider so that it does work.
She just wants the gambrel on the front, that's the first one that we submitted.
I know, but what we're saying to you
But
is
wait,
that
wait,
the
wait,
way
why
that
do
that
you
was
say-
done.
I'm just curious, why do you say it doesn't work? I see it works perfectly on the front elevation. I see it works on this elevation is,
No, I think in the.
on this
in the
elevation.
center,
On the
Here?
center, no, on the center here, that's what I'm told you. I will
The
give
problem
you.
would be here, there's bedroom
One more
space.
second, let's go one by one, because this area is acceptable. I would say yes, because it will, it's like it's a compromise. But on this end, just carry, so get rid. Yeah, this was the original gamble, which I think that what you have now is 10 times better than what you brought the first time. Much better.
All right, so
So let's go
go
back.
into the bedroom wall.
What again?
But here's the thing, there's room to play with how you do these angles, right? I mean, there's a spectrum of what works, and so if this thing gets wider and accommodates the program, maybe you can make the gambrel form work with the interior program.
Down a little bit, make that steeper.
Yeah, take a look at the typical roof angles that work, because this kind of thing works all the time. People put their bedrooms in these.
And
It's on Tenant Street, and then we stuck.
I get it, if you don't, but here's the thing, we gotta stick with one particular style, right? Take a style, carry it through to its logical conclusion. Don't give us one style on the side, another style on the front.
You're just asking me to cut the dormer back a little bit, back into the.
I'm asking either,
dormers are
Like,
part of.
go to the back of
yeah,
it.
but this isn't a dormer.
This is not a dormer,
That's
that's
the
a
thing,
planner.
that's the problem where
Or
we're,
you asking me to cut that?
I'm either asking you to cut it off, or if you're gonna, if
Or at
you,
least as a dormer.
or treat it as a dormer.
Go to the back side. Now, we cut that off. I think what I'm hearing,
What you
I
cut it off,
understand.
let's say, you cut it off like this, you cut it off like that. You can even, play a little bit with what you're doing in the front, and you're there. The front is a concession.
just mark it up and approve this note.
All right, so let's review this, because this bothers me greatly, because it's a strange, how you gonna build it?
Yeah.
How you waterproofing it?
I don't mean, what is this thing right here?
This roof has two pitches. This first steep pitch carries all the way through here, up to the second story. This is a different
But
pitch.
you agree with me that this is strange mishmash?
Well, don't
Yeah,
forget.
you have too many things intersecting. Like, at some point,
It's not a side house, it was in this area, right, so we're nitpicking something. It was
Let's
just,
just, how would you like it resolved? Should we take this off or cut it right there maybe?
I can work with it, but I need to see it, with the trace paper and go over it and over it. I think you can do it the same.
this is a small detail side house above roof.
this is also the same issue. There are like so many
It's the
issues.
same thing that carries through. That's the other side. That's the thing we were just talking about.
Those two lines
For
there.
this,
takes
when
care
you
of
see
it.
here, same. I think that two is too much to work out on the public view.
Look at the original sign, show me the sign. We didn't have any gambrel on the sign. But we put the gambrel dormers and we wanted the whole house to be. Now it's just gonna affect the interior.
But we gave this to you last time you were here. We said, we made these exact same comments.
I understand.
And so you came back with the
Something
same
that
issues.
I'm asking you to concede in for us, we've made the other ones. What if I give you the front part of it?
It's not, I'm not gonna give on this issue of doing a house that is consistent with the style that you've chosen. It's not, forget about the consistency of the house if you put the nicer material on it. I mean, that doesn't float.
And I tell you,
It's not-
the floor plans are fairly simple. I don't think you're gonna have any conflict.
We're looking new space in those quarter bedrooms.
Not really. Not really. It's just
Because
applying some
wants to
sort of,
do it.
what again?
It's gonna actually affect the volume of the interior space.
I'm trying to see, this is the elevation that we're looking there. This one, right? It's, I see the problem. This is your house. And this ends up there. This is all a dormer of this gamble. You don't need all that. Much easier and simpler. And it's the same
Are you happy
problem.
with that change?
Huh? Sure.
If you're making this piece come all the way through,
Fine. And this is,
I think you guys, you need to draw it up. I'm not gonna approve a plan that is a sketch and
It's not going over. Let's see what he's got, those two lines, it's not going over.
what are you doing here? You're proposing two large dormers? I don't understand.
here,
Yeah.
I'm pushing this inside, so the gamble continues and exists, and then, this is in the back, I can compromise. But at least it's,
Of course we can compromise.
at least it's coherent. There is some 360 of coherence, it's not. Unfortunately,
This can't be done because the garage.
I know, I saw it, I saw. You know, the problem is, you wanna push it to the end of the hearing so we can let the other people, because it's gonna take half an hour to discuss this.
We're almost there.
It's very difficult to discuss on the fly.
It's also, I mean, the issue here is that I don't design your house. And that's not my job.
But we designed it here, you don't like it, so, rather than being a moving target and constantly coming back, we're not gonna make any arrangements. What if we agree to, at least get the foundation permit so we can have the house built, and then we can come back?
I'm not sure how that works. I have to talk to Ed about that.
And if you want, I'll sit down with you and figure exactly what you want.
You gotta see. It's a workable,
As
long as we agree.
Let's talk to Ed about that. I'm not sure how the permitting process works with a partial permit. It's a good question. I'm not opposed to doing that in any way if it helps you get your schedule ahead of time and helps your clients get into their house sooner. But I don't, at the same time, I wanna issue an approval for a basement and not for a whole house, right? We wanna do the whole house, and I don't want something that happens in our conversation about that to affect work you've already done, or work you've already started.
So we're only talking about the second floor.
It seems like that, but, I wanna be cautious, I don't want get stuck,
I'll be
Bigger problem.
at risk.
If you're all right, I'm gonna put you back on at the end of the meeting. I'd like to continue the conversation with Ed. And are you all right staying here for a little bit? When we have a conversation? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna, no motion for now, we're gonna come back to this at the end of the hearing. 24 Bellewood.
Bellewood. It seems that the information that you asked for was actually in the handout last time, but because my prints were too small, you couldn't see them. But I do have the right and left elevation with the new windows, proposed windows. And I gave some expanded views of them again last week. So they should be in your packet. Do you want to pull up on the record?
So if I remember correctly, we were asking for.
We wanted to see the side elevations. So, remind us briefly the scope of the project on the exterior. You're adding the windows on the side elevation, and you're doing
They're existing, there's one existing window on the upper floor of each side of the north and south side elevations. Just a single window. And what we're proposing to do is add 2 windows to each side, I believe, or 3 on one and 2 on the other.
Yeah.
And then also the deck needs to be rebuilt. And you can see also the plans do show the same footprint, but a nicer looking deck with vertical guardrails. And we would like to have it done in pressure treated, unpainted wood versus the natural finish, like you suggested last time.
Unpainted, you said? Are you going to put some kind of solid
Just, yeah,
stain
sealed,
on it?
Just sealed, just
Okay.
so it looks like wood.
Okay.
Yeah.
If left to age, pressure treated wood turns a kind of unsightly color. So I would recommend either putting some kind of opaque stain, or you have to keep up with this clear coat very regularly, because if you leave it, it turns pretty ugly. It's not like cedar that silvers or grays. It turns a kind of blackish, greenish color,
Okay.
which
So sealed.
seal it.
Stain.
Stain it, seal it.
Stay.
Okay, this looks,
Just add the notes that it's gonna be staying a little bit.
motion to approve this as submitted with the stipulation the deck be both stained and sealed. Yeah, your seconds, unanimous, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
218 Ashford? That's it. Anyone here from 218 Ashford? No? Motion to continue 218 Ashford till the next hearing? Yeah, your seconds, it's unanimous. 40 Clinton, please.
Hi, thanks for your time. My name is Carl Walter, with 40 Clinton, asking your permission to build a fence on 2 sides of my property. I didn't put a slide up, but I have a picture of, or a highlighted picture of the plan that you have in front of you. And I'd just like to orient you a little bit.
Would you kindly bring the microphone with you, and we have an easel if you need, I suspect you won't be able to point if your hand's full.
So, this is Clinton Avenue here on the right-hand side of your property. This is a hedge in front of my property. There's a picture of the hedge in your packet. This is not part of the plan to do fencing. My fencing involves only the side next to the women's club and the Romanos at 34 Clinton on the other side. There are 3 types of fence involved. There is a replacement of an old stockade fence that goes along here in the yellow section. There's a picture of this in your packet, or there should be. It's falling down. I believe that was erected by the women's club. This stockade fence would have the good side facing the women's club. And on my side, it would be painted dark green. The second part of that side is a wire fence that would go underneath a bunch of trees. There's a picture there that goes to the edge of the property just behind the edge. And then on the other side, on the Romano side, is a 6-foot aluminum fence that goes along here, and a gate and a small fence here next to my house. I think there are pictures of all this in the packet.
Is this the aluminum fence here?
That is this one
that's
here.
the sort of deer fence with the
it's
tree.
deer fence. That's the aluminum fence.
Is that what I'm
That's
seeing?
Romano's, yeah.
Okay. So you're matching that fence?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is there a match there? I didn't-
Well, I thought you said that there's something
there's
already
no
in
picket
there.
fix. No, the fence that exists here is the old stockade fence.
That's in the so that is the previous image, which is here. This is the stockade, the
So
full
that's the yellow
stockade.
part
Understood.
here.
And on the top,
This continues as a wire deer fence.
yes, which is the last photograph.
Right. And then over here is a aluminum stock, it's aluminum
So that's all new.
like this, that's all new.
I see.
And here,
Okay.
right now, there's nothing there.
Oh, I see. Okay, I understand.
Mike? Just looking at this plan for the first time, and it appears this fence is in the front yard?
Pardon me?
This fence is in your front yard?
Yes, this is the 2 sides, well, this is part of the front yard, and this extends from the corner of the back part of the property up to where the garage is.
So anything forward of the front of your house is
4 feet.
4 feet maximum and 40% open. So you can't put a stockade fence, 6-foot stockade fence in the front yard.
This house is like 100 feet in from the street. Right? I had read the code to mean only that the front part of the,
That's incorrect.
okay? Have to rethink it? Anything else, gentlemen?
No, would you, you're gonna reconsider the fence type, or would you like to do a shorter fence on the side?
I personally think that a 4-foot fence does not accomplish what I want to have. This is meant to be for privacy.
Mm-hmm.
There's
No,
a
but we're-
huge yard over here on the women's club side, as you're aware.
Wait. It's, what he, I don't know if it was clear, but the limitation of 4 feet is only facing Clinton.
No, that's not
I
what it
understood
says.
as well, and now-
What it is saying is that anywhere forward of the front of the house, so you take a plane, an imaginary
Oh, okay.
plane, you follow that through to your 2 side yards, and anything in front of that is a 4-foot and some degree of openness, which,
I'm aware that you gentlemen do not consider exceptions to this, but I wish you would, because I'm affected by a herd of deer that go right across my property from the Docksbury Women's Club into the Romanos. I have
You
3
could apply
fawns
to the zoning board.
in my front yard this year.
You could apply to the zoning board of appeals. This board doesn't have the power to waive that.
you suggest that's a good idea?
I think that you have a legitimate case to be made, particularly because because you're so far set back and because you are using a different fence type close to the street. You may be.
If you look at the picture in the front of the house.
No, I'm.
the hedge, you can't even see that.
I know. I drove by. But
The existing fence, that is the type 2 stockade fence, is where? The yellow?
it's already there. It's just falling down.
If you look at the survey, you'll see it on the survey. There's a drawing on the survey here. There's a little chunk that goes from the corner of the property to back, sort of partway down the patio. I don't know if there was more, because as you can see, it's in terrible shape. My view is none of this would be seen from the street except for this. And this is a very heavy hedge.
And you have the 1.5-story brick that, screens the front of the house. I think it's a legitimate argument for ZBA to grant you the
Okay,
waiver.
and so it's called the Dobbs Ferry Zoning Committee?
Zoning Board of Appeals.
Zoning Board of Appeals. So it's on the council.
If you come in
It
and
is.
see Pat Harney,
Yeah.
and she'll get you an application. And we'll get you on that.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Motion to continue. Dale seconds. Unanimous. 11 Pietro Place.
Hi, I'm Paul Bellewood. I'm the architect on the project. I didn't know we could upload slides for presentation. But I did submit my copies of drawings. So this property is owned by the Greenberg Computer Center, and this is the rabbi's residence. And we have a new rabbi in town, and we're improving the house for the new occupant. The project is really an interior renovation project, but we are putting new siding on the exterior and changing some windows, so that's, I guess, the relevant part to the board. And I have a little color version of the, I can't see that.
Can you take the microphone with you? So just walk us through the changes.
The changes on the front are, I'm removing shutters that had been there, changing the siding to, I've got this messed up. Changing the siding to hardy plank.
Unfortunately,
AZEK.
the purpose is,
Yeah.
it's for the audience.
Oh, it's really good. Okay, I got it.
If you
I'm all around.
You stand the back a little bit.
So,
I can hear him if he puts the mic down, because he's so close to your mics.
Okay.
If he puts the mic back.
All right, that's fine.
So I'll stare with the other guys. Oh, this is good. So hardy plank, Anderson windows, vertical board and batten siding. I'm using, I think, the most non-controversial hardy plank color, which is timber bark and white AZEK trim. And I want to put a covering over the front door, and I'm building a little sort of bungalow or craftsman style roof covering. And the intention there is that it's dark metal. I have a piece of dark metal. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it out of, I have to get prices on that, either steel. Okay. So a piece of dark metal there that I'm trying to get us the approximate, like a dark bronze color.
And this is for the standing seam
Just
roof
that
at
standing
the-
seam metal roof.
Right.
And that's pretty much it.
Took out a window in the back.
In the back, rearranging some windows on the back. I'm making the kitchen window a little larger. We are putting a sliding patio door where there had been 2 doors, dining room doors, and some bedroom windows are, most of the work is a new master bedroom suite, so the master bedroom windows are, I think I actually added.
And you have an extension for the closet.
Right, so there's, that's the only extension, is a second floor, I call it saddlebag extension, where I'm gonna do a little structural engineering trick, or just overhang, or cantilever it, it's not really a cantilever structure, but,
It's a shelf, a bracket.
it's a closet,
It's a bracket.
a bracket. And,
I think it's a nice improvement to the house, so it's very well
yeah, the
done.
house has been neglected for about 20 years, and we want to just fix it. It's a fixer-upper kind of project. It's not. It's a very conventional roof.
Okay. Are there neighbors?
Hi, Alan Eisner, 15 Pietro Place. I'm on the right. Our driveways are above each other. So my main concern about any alteration of this property is that if it doesn't include the appropriate landscaping, the tree that touches both, it sits on Weaver Center's property and touches both the roof of that house and the roof of my house, and is going to go into one of our bedrooms very soon. And so it would be foolish to spend money renovating a house where the tree is going to come in to one of our bedrooms anytime now. And I perennially cut the trees back to the tree line, but I have pictures of it, way too many trees, and refuse to prune them appropriately. I don't understand why.
I just,
I know,
Not
but
necessarily this
my
one.
concern is that particularly for bumping out the closets on that side of the house where the big tree is, you're only getting closer to it. I don't understand, that the house is not gonna look any better if they change it, if they don't landscape it to go with it. That's my comment.
thank you. I would just say that landscaping is not a component of our purview. I just want to make clear, I think that this is a discussion between neighbors about.
Safety issue.
I don't disagree. It's just not a. I think this is an issue to be worked out between neighbors. It's not a mandate that I can make at this board
Okay,
to prune the tree.
The rest of the neighbors are concerned about bumping out the closets and what it'll do to the visual aspect of the house from the front of the house. That is our architectural concern, and it's my particular concern that the tree's gonna fall on.
Yeah, and that's a real one, and I think that that between neighbors, it's a thing that should get worked out and needs to be addressed. I don't think it's necessary.
All right, I saw the tree and I agree with it coming out, so I think that's.
Sure.
I'll just save you a lot of aggravation. I mean, I said the same thing, and when that's part of it, so.
Okay.
Thanks for bumping out that.
Is there another neighbor that is here to speak?
I was going to address the bumping out, so we could.
Would you like to come up and state your name and?
Press for time usually, so we could just tell about that now. That's what we started to, but if you want.
Well, anyone who's going to speak really needs to take the microphone and.
Yes. Ed Schneider, 100 Belden Avenue, and my house on 100 Belden there is his exact house. The yellow house that faces Belden is mine, and so I never had the thought of the concept of putting closets that hang beside your house at the second story level. So that is new to me, and I was just questioning how that works. And they're taking away the 3 closets that I have contained within my home, and they'll disappear, right? And the closets will go in the
You're not
outside.
doing anything to your house.
I know that, but I'm concerned about the new one that you're going to be doing. That the concept to me of putting closets that hang on the side of the house, from the 2nd story level, is unusual. It is giving me ideas of what I can do. So I'm just like what he's saying. So, and I don't know, that might be a good idea.
Maybe, it looks good in elevation. It's pretty good. Thank you.
And we are very grateful. That house has been in total disrepair forever. So like anything they do should be improved.
He installed 16 Pietro. I face his house, the rabbi's house. And I'm curious about the bump out, because I see it from my bedrooms and from my living room window, because I live exactly on. So that's the question. Is it over to be the same color, or is it not?
It's on the drawings. Okay, regarding that bump out, there's a lot of zoning restrictions on your site, your site. This is one part of the house where I can expand the house. If I did it towards the front, I'd be too close to yours on the side yard. This is actually the one sort of corner where I can do it. Structurally, it's the one place I can do it without coming down and putting foundations. So it's just an economical way to gain about 24 square feet, and the roof line's going to continue. It's the kind of thing that you probably wouldn't notice. It's a West Coast kind of detail. It's more common, but it's a pretty insignificant house addition, and done in an economical way. So that's the answer. As far as the tree, I saw that tree, and I am working with a board as the owner, which it's not an individual, but I did tell them that that tree was diseased and looked like it was going to fall. And I agree, and I will report back to them, and I'm just going to tell them the neighbors are very concerned about it. And that's, and we want to make the house look nice. Rabbi Stein is a great guy. I'm sure he'll be a good neighbor. And what other issue is there? Yeah, as far as how it relates to your house, it works fine in our plan and is an improvement. That's kind
It
of
works fine, I'll hire you.
What do you take down the tree? I will see it. That's what he's talking right now.
Okay, thank you. You guys, any comments? No comment. Let's make a motion to approve this as submitted. Here, seconds, unanimous? Thanks. 16 Cedar Street, please.
Yes.
Good evening. My name is Lam.
Both.
I'm coming from the New Orleans town for the assistant restaurant in Cedar Street. Any questions?
No.
Yeah, basically, it's going to be matching the one next to it, and the height would be, I believe, more than 8 feet, probably about 10 feet high, so it wouldn't be any blocking at all.
You're matching the bottom of the old stake, right?
Excuse me?
The old stake, you're matching the bottom.
Yes, we're matching height, we're matching
Same shape.
Same shape, yes.
Looks good. Motion to approve this as submitted.
Second.
Dale seconds, unanimous? Thank you.
I'm also coming from next, 78 Virginia also.
78 Virginia, okay?
This is, also a property from my parents, which is, because we have children, so, we hate the children always using the garage door in and out, and the garage door is open somehow, so we can do it for the children, and also one of the room has no light door, so when the window connection, the window, existing window will on all the houses, so the door and window will be on. And we already have a picture attaching to the,
Yeah. This is on the side of the house, you know,
outside, yes, yes.
you know,
Yes.
okay. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. Ed, any
Yeah, okay.
questions?
As long as the existing interior stairs stay, and there's no locked door between the basement and the first floor,
Yes,
and no kitchen in the basement,
No.
I'm fine.
no kitchen, no.
Motion to approve this as submitted?
Unanimous.
Yeah, your seconds, unanimous? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
72 Buena Vista Drive.
I'm Michael Lewis, architect. This is an addition at 72 Buena Vista Drive. You may recall in previous applications, we bumped up and bumped out. Now we're working on the south end of the house. And we're removing an existing sunroom and replacing it and adding to it for a new conservatory. This is the top image is the aerial view. That's the house right there. You can see it's on the bend in the road and on a hill. As you come up from the south, this is the view. Any further south, you just can't see the house at all because it's blocked by trees. This is the front view of the house. You can see that the south wing is slightly visible. And then looking down from the north, again, the wing is slightly visible. That's the general location of the work. So this is the elevation of the proposed project. This wider area is pretty much aligning with the existing. You can see the demolition plan and the new plan. And then we're stepping in to give a little additional clearance to this large tree that we're going to protect and keep. And basically, it's a glass enclosure. I apologize for the images; they're all skewed, but this is actually a square see where it's extended out. This is the elevation from the rear of the house. It's fairly identical, except that here we have full height glass and the idea is that the back end of this, of the conservatory opens wide to a rear garden. None of the landscaping work is included in this proposal, but we see it separately. The existing house has some really nice carpentry and detailing, really classic colonial. The image is a little difficult to read here, but you can see it has dentils and beautiful little corner columns with entices and everything like that. It's really pretty nice. So we're taking that same language, and it exists in a number of areas around the house, not just at this little garden area. So we're taking that language and we're extending it throughout the new conservatory. That's the section that's cut through east-west transverse section. You can see windows on one side and then the doors on the other. And this is the existing view. And just a sketch, again, a little bit hard to read here, is a sketch showing the massing of the proposed unit with the octagonal raised roof story. And the view from the south looking into the end of the house. In terms of the finishes, it's basically all white paint, a roof with gravel ballast. It's visible from the interior, and a copper-clad raised clear story. Any questions?
Mike, and Mr. Chairman, Mike, this will require planning board approval. Any approval here was conditional on it,
I see. Why is that?
because our site plan required for 500 square feet or 10-foot vertical or horizontal.
Okay.
It looks to me like you're, if not matching the current column, capital, emphasis, dental details, and you've sort of interpreted them in a way that I think is harmonious, and it's a very nicely done addition. I don't have any criticism of it. It's very nicely done. I think we can give you our approval here, and then follow up with planning board for this further component, and I don't foresee there being any issues there.
Okay. So on my end, it's very nicely detailed.
Oh, thanks.
I just have a question on the degree of, there are two volumes, right? The square one, which is the conservatory, and the, let's say, the transition between the house and the conservatory.
Yes.
And one, you decide to have a balcony on the top.
Right, it's not a true balcony.
I understand, but the detail is what you envision on the roofing? It's a flat roof, it's a hidden gutter, whatever it is. And the transition between one and the other is what? It's a continuous roofing?
It'll probably be pretty consistent actually until where the copper starts, and we're figuring to cover it with 1.5 inches of gravel ballast, try to get a really nice gravel up there. We're trying to, the owners don't really want to use it as a balcony, but we want it to look nice. So we added a little balustrade to help balance the form where the clear story by itself seemed a little out of balance visually, so we added the lead balustrade so it came together. And basically we'll just put gravel, maybe we'll even use like a black river stone, some nice gravel up there, and let it go with that so that it's not an eyesore for them when they look out the window.
Right, no, and again, these comments are, this is approvable for me as is, but I'm trying to see,
Yeah,
can elaborate.
it's always on.
The size of the clerestory windows is what?
They're about 16 inches, I think. Pretty low.
Because maybe it will benefit a little bit from.
Yeah, that's been one of the issues from the beginning of the project. The idea we wanted to, with the size and shape of the glass, we needed a certain sort of head height inside the room.
Right.
And then we were worried on the outside that the mass was getting too large for the house, as you look at it. And so we were sort of pushing back and forth against that. And I think in terms of the clear story, the way it looks in elevation is one thing, but the way you actually perceive it on site is different, particularly since this house is from the street is uphill.
Right.
So that's a spot where, we've thought and we think it's great, but it's the kind of thing that I think we sort of want to sort of keep tuning a little bit as we move through the final drawings.
Right. No, my comment is because you have the net glazing, the net glass area, it's very
small.
narrow.
Yeah.
And I don't have an issue with the clear story being higher than the top of the rail. Actually, I think it would balance better the house. And you're making all this effort to have like I would say a wonderful conservatory.
Sure.
With better zenithal light or better, it would
So
be
your
better.
instinct is that a taller clear
I
story
think
will
a taller would be in better proportion to the clear story, to the conservatory, and to the full elevation. And how much I don't know. You have to.
But that's how we felt. It was taller and lower and taller and lower as we've been working on the design and sort of where we left it at this juncture was that we'll continue to model it and we didn't have enough time to develop the view from the street and really look at it in terms of the perception from the street, and that'll figure into it as well. But thanks for your comments. I think that's helpful.
That's great.
Yeah, thanks.
Option until we have.
Can we can approve pending, that's what I'd rather do. Is there any reason to?
Well, there is no reason to hold it unless, Michael, you want to revise this or getting enough conditional approval and then decide later? It's up to you.
Why don't we approve it now, and if you need to come back with a revision because it changes, you can submit just the one sketch, one sheet, and we'll do that then. I don't know if you need to come to the meeting yet. All right, so to motion that we approve this as submitted pending planning board approval, and we'll leave it at the discretion of the architect to adjust the final height of the clear story windows, and if they change from the current plan, we'll review that as a separate alteration to the approved application. Second? Mayor, second, unanimous. Thank you. '75 Main Street.
They were not ready to go out and no action required.
Ed, you stepped out momentarily in the discussion of 89 Beechdale, and the applicant asked for to separate the approval. I offered to bring them back at the end of the meeting so we could continue the conversation.
Separate the approval how?
Let's have them come back in and restate that to you. There was a question you made earlier that I wanted Ed to opine on regarding some way in which we can continue to work on some of these issues we were talking about, but get a head start on your building process. Could you repeat that question so Ed could hear it? Because I don't, I'm not sure about the answer to that is.
What we were talking about here before was a couple of what I call minor changes to the plan. On the second floor, and we did some sketches that we saw that we can accommodate those changes. But what we're asking for is a foundation permit to at least get the whole wall.
Two things. We need a more complete construction document. And I need an opinion from the village attorney because there's been a submittal to the zoning board of appeals from a neighbor questioning whether this was a legitimate lot and questioning the planning board approval. I don't know if that's a valid appeal, and I need our village attorney to opine on that. So I will contact him tomorrow, and you'll work on the plans, and I'll let you know.
Okay, so the next question I have is, do you find these changes going to hurt the property values of the neighbors?
Say that again.
These minor changes?
Say, repeat the question.
I guess what I'm saying is these minor.
I don't do property assessments. I mean,
I think that the denial, you're having to deny has to be based on, that's all. Well, I guess my point I'm making is very minor changes. Thank you for doing what you did. Is there any chance we can take that with us and bring it back?
Yeah, you can take it. It's in progress. I hope you understand the sketches and the nature of the comments that we're making. A sketch without understanding what we're talking about could be misconstrued. As long as you understand what we are doing, I have no problem, no issue whatsoever.
I think that's maybe there's some misunderstanding on here, part A. It's up to you to provide the drawing that has, and a design that has integrity. It's not, you know, if you make this one change and it affects other things and those other things aren't resolved, well, we're gonna talk about those things next time, right? So it's on you. We didn't, we're telling you what's wrong and we're asking you to fix it. And if in the process you create another problem, we're gonna talk about that other problem, right? And so if you take his sketch and you just draw that line on here and you throw it in front of us and you say, this is what I'm doing, let me finish. This is what you said last time, here's your drawing, but it's not resolved, we're going to have the same conversation, right? It's up to you to resolve it architecturally, not us.
You know, we'll go back to the point is how you issue denials. You're an advisor.
I'm not here to deny people. We don't, that's not what we're out to do. We're here to try to work with you to get this.
And you know, we've accommodated on most of the things.
No, you haven't accommodated on the main things that we've brought up.
I think we have.
There's some geometry issues with the elevations that don't work. They aren't cohesive, they don't fit together. And I think that's what Michael's commenting on, and that's what I'm commenting on. When I look at this side elevation, things don't fit together correctly. And that's what we're commenting on.
Show me, be a little more specific.
This entire thing in here does not fit together, and this does not quite fit together. So, it's a three-dimensional exercise. And there are things that just haven't been resolved.
And these are things you wanted, that were not on the original drawing that you had asked for.
And that cannot be done, just because of the.
No, I understand fully well it can't be done. But neither can this.
So it's up to you to find a way to, you've got to alter some other components of it. I mean,
Is that the list of things to do?
Sure. We'll make a motion to continue this to the next application. Second? Second?
Second.
Dale seconds, unanimous.
Gentlemen, I know I wasn't on the agenda. My name is Douglas Sanders. I'm the owner of 55 Belden. We live in Charlotte, 44 Sherman Avenue. In the last meeting, June 12, 2017, it was said that the discussion about the construction of the garage at 55 Belden will be continued at the next meeting. As you know, this is the next meeting. I'm wondering, how do we, as neighbors, most effectively find out when the garage is being discussed? I traveled 20 miles to get here tonight, and I didn't see Mr. Casella or his constant companion and the chairman of the Conservation Advisory Board, Mr. D. Pasquale, here. So is this being done off the agenda, or how is it being done?
There are no approvals off the agenda. The agenda is, if the applicant doesn't provide drawings, they don't come onto the agenda. The agenda, to prevent you coming here and sitting through the meeting and traveling, I would suggest phoning the office beforehand to confirm the applicant has submitted drawings, and will be present. And it is, and I will warn you, it is very often the case that applicants submit drawings and don't show up to meetings. So there is no promise that if they are on the agenda that they will be here and that we will discuss it, but there is a promise that if they are not on the agenda, we will not hear them and we will not discuss it.
Very good, yeah, it was my understanding that it may not be an agenda topic, or perhaps it was just that they wouldn't notice the discussions for the continuation of how to fix the garage.
Well, we continued they were a continuation, they didn't receive an approval, and
They never submitted any new drawings for this meeting.
So it will definitely be on the agenda. If it's supposed to be discussed, they may or may not show up, of course.
if it's not on the agenda, we won't hear them.
And so we should wait to see that it will be on the agenda for the garage.
Correct. That's fine.
Thank you very much.
Sure. You're welcome. Motion to adjourn tonight's meeting? adjourned.